So what we're going to do is to apply color to our lithograph, and we need to know where to put the color using this piece of leg sand. So this is a technique to help us establish where the ink is rolled on the leg sand. So we put it face down on the plastic sheet. We don't want it to move, so we will just about 2 or 3 pieces of tape's really all you need. Well, we've got 4, it's okay. Okay, and so there it is. And what I wanted to do today was to apply some color to this area. So I'm going to take a Sharpie, and I'm going to need to is that Sharpie working? Yeah, maybe. Make sure that Sharpie's working. Yeah, it's working. Okay, I've got that corner. I'm going to fill ink in there. And we'll put some ink in over on this side up to about here. And this technique of printing off of a flat surface like this, piece of leg sand, applying ink to it and then printing off of that is called, the technique is called monotype. But when you apply the color to an actual print like this lithograph, it becomes monoprint because part of the layering is repeatable. In the lithograph we printed is repeatable. We printed 4, 5, or 6. It's an addition. Almost done. Okay. And I am going to mix a blend roll for this particular shell. So I'll show you that here in a little bit. So this is the area where I'm going to put my ink. Now I can go back later and apply ink out here. I can stack more ink on top of this. But for now, just one layer. Okay, now the plate is then flipped over. And we pull the lithograph off. Use this blue painter's tape so you don't hurt your paper. And really, it's easy to get confused. Which side is the Sharpie on? So I like to indicate ink side. Ink. Oh, and by the way, if you make a mistake when you're doing the Sharpie, you can always erase it with a little denatured alcohol. Okay, so I've indicated that this is the side I apply ink to. This is my top up side. And what's going to happen is the way we print this is we're going to roll the ink on. Remember the Sharpie's on the back side here. And we're going to roll the ink out over on this surface, this space here. I'm going to wipe the ink away from my lines. This is the area that's going to receive the ink. And when we go to the press, it's actually registered by eye. So we will take it to the press and I will drop that right down like that and we'll print it. And we'll lift that plate off and that ink will transfer to the shell. We are now mixing our ink for the monoprint, and we have 4 ingredients. We have magnesium carbonate, which looks like confectionery sugar. It's great stuff. The extender base, which is clear, no color, are pigments, and then oil. And so for the seashell, I'm imagining a caramel color blending into a magenta color. So I have to mix up the caramel and the magenta pink separately. And then we'll demonstrate how to create a blend roll And we'll roll that on the Lexan template we made earlier. And I know what side to roll the ink because I wrote ink. I know exactly where to put it. So, since we're mixing up two different colors, I'm going to create two different little bodies of, I begin with this tint base, extender base they call it. So here we go. About the size of a bubble gum, right? A wad, well, that's two bubble-licious wads of gum. And then we'll introduce the pigment to it, but we want to underdo it before we overdo it. See, I can put too much pigment in there pretty quickly. That wasn't very much at all. You'll see how quickly that distributes, and we get a start building up that color kind of looking for, kind of a caramel color. The pure pigment doesn't look like caramel. It's too strong. And these are actually the colors we're working with here. So there's that color and this color. We're diluting this one and this one. That's pure. This is a Huset Benz yellow mixed with a Charbonnel raw umber. And then that's that. And this is the magenta color. Now, did I make sure when I touched that card I didn't get any magenta on it? I didn't. Okay, let's keep mixing this. And remember to see a preview of what it might look like, at least as close as we can get to a preview, is we can do a drawdown test on a piece of paper. So we're just going to take it and draw down on it. You can see if I press hard, that's really thin color. I need more pigment. That's okay. I got more. We're just going to add some more pigment. No problem. So let's do it again. Mix in some more. We want to mix it in slowly because once we put too much in, we can't take it out. And the wrong thing to do would be to think, well, I'll just add more transparent base, because if you do that, you could end up with a half gallon of ink, you know, just trying to get to that right color. Okay. This is more like a color of a venti latte. Maybe I'm moving toward a coffee color rather than caramel. Okay, now just bumped up probably about twice the strength. Yeah, we sure did. So that's getting, I like that better. And I'm thinking we doubled it. I may add just a little bit more. I don't want to overdo it, so I'm a little bit concerned about getting too excited about increasing the saturation, but I am going to put a little bit more in here. It's about the consistency of a saltwater taffy right now, and we can't print with that. The body's all wrong. It would actually stick to the paper. You couldn't pull the paper off of the Lexan if you rolled this on. It's like glue. So, all right. All right, again, I don't want to overdo it. And you can see there's a subtle shift here. Darker. I like that. So that's established. But it's not ready to print. We have to add modifiers. Magnesium carbonate and oil. But before I do that, let's go ahead and mix up our magenta. Now, all that I have is a little residue on the blade, but I'm thinking that may be all I need. So let's mix that in and just see. These are really strong pigments, so you have to be careful. You think that you want to shoot for a particular color and you go grab that pigment and all of a sudden you realize you're oversaturated. That's about the color I want, but it won't pull down quite like it looks on the glass, so I'm going to have to pull a thin. Oh, I like that, but it just needs a little bit more. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You can also pull a little little test. See, I just grabbed some. I didn't grab the whole body of ink. I want to do a test to see how strong can I go. Would this be too strong? And I have an idea of the ratio that I needed, that I just used to create this, so I can repeat that. Oh, that's not going to be too much. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. As I said, slowly build it up and keep testing it to see where you are. It's actually a workout.
Yeah.
On the hands. And when I mix, I push the blade and pull it against the glass, because you see I have both transparent base and ink on here that is not mixed. So I pull it off the blade like that. Alright. Yeah, I like that. That's nice and subtle. So now, what's next? Look at the body of ink we've just created, these two separate bodies of ink. And what you want to do is you want to literally match that volume with your magnesium carbonates, 50-50. Okay? 50-50. I may have gone too much on that one, I don't know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this in thoroughly, and then you will come back and join me after I have this mixed up. But I want you to notice that initially it looks like we've just ruined it. Look at that. How is that ever going to mix up? Well, it just takes a little time. So we'll come back in just a second when we've got that mixed up.